Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I want to talk about the Amazing Spider-Man 73, the recent one that Nick Spencer did, where he is apparently retconning Sin's past. And I'm probably in the minority with this one, and I gotta say, I think the retcon is stupid. Don't get me wrong, I hate Sin's past, but the convoluted way that they retcon the story just doesn't work for me. It is just too much, you know, coincidence, and it's just too much of me having to ignore a lot of the Spider-Man storylines that kind of led to Sin's Past, and even after Sin's Past, for me to even kind of believe that it wasn't real. You get what I'm saying? Now, the only reason why I'm saying that is because of Harry Osborn's convoluted plan of, oh, the real Harry Osborn's been dead all along, and before he died, he wanted to get revenge on his father, so he uploaded his brain patterns into a computer, and then he talked to Mysterio and Chameleon to mess with everybody around that, Peter, Norman, Mary Jane's minds and stuff like that, about, Gwen and Norman Osborn having a thing because Gwen Stacy is supposed to be too classy for that, which I think that's kind of just dumb. I really think it's dumb. Don't get me wrong. I want people to understand I do hate Sin's Past. I think Sin's Past is a terrible storyline, but at the same time, it gave some layer to Gwen Stacy, because in the eye of beholder, Gwen Stacy was this perfect girl. But let's be honest, when she kind of first appeared, she was one of them stuck up bitches. I'm just being honest. I know Stan Lee based her off of there, but if you read like the early Spider-Man run when Gwen was introduced, she was kind of like a little mischief little girl who kind of hung out with Flash and Harry and really wanted to get into Peter Parker's pants. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in that, but at the same time, let's be honest, there are girls who are the girl next door, the innocent girl, that do sometimes have an attraction to older people. It is what it is, especially when Gwen Stacy's solo run that came out in 2020 kind of hinted on, the attraction that Norman and Gwen Stacy had for each other. It's weird. It's weird. I know. I know people don't want it to happen, but at the same time, Marvel wanted Gwen Stacy to have kids, though, but they killed her off. So how do you make her have kids if you can't? If people wanted her and Peter to have kids, but they wanted their kids to be aged up, right? How can you have adult children of Spider-Man and Gwen Stacy when it just wouldn't make any logical sense? So who's the next best option that's in the world of Spider-Man that has a connection to Peter Parker or whatever? Since Harry Osborn at the time was dead, and who else has much of a connection besides the Jackal to Gwen Stacy? It would make logical sense that it was either be Norman Osborn or the Jackal. And the reason why I'm also saying that is because I don't believe what Kindred is saying. And because I don't believe it is also because Mephisto had brought back, you know, Harry Osborn and some other people, but he didn't bring back Gwen Stacy, right? When they did the whole one more day thing. But at the same time, it's like after that, Harry had moved on with Liz Allen. They had kids, and we already saw Normie. And now you're asking me to believe that Norman Osborn just magically got hypnotized and an illusion created where Gwen randomly comes up to him, and they sleep together, which doesn't make any sense when both Norman, Mary Jane, and Peter both remember, what happened or whatever. So it is one of those. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it, but I just don't want people to think I don't like that I like Sin's Past, because I don't. But at the same time, the reason why I'm saying this retcon is stupid is because it's too convoluted to for me to believe. Like, I can possibly believe that Gwen Stacy, did sleep with Norman Osborn or whoever, because if any of you guys know that, there's three other clones of Gwen Stacy, like actual clones of Gwen Stacy in the main timeline right now that was created by the Jackal, and we already know that Warren Miles was obsessed with her. So even if you didn't do Norman Osborn, Warren Miles will make sense. And we do know that one of the Stacy clones did fall in love with the Warren Ellis clone and had kids with him. So that kind of shows that Gwen do have some kind of attraction to older men. And again, there is nothing wrong with that. That is not shaming her or anything. But I actually think it does add layer to it. I do think it add layer to it because no matter what, you're not going to be able to get people to forget about sins past. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Marvel had plenty of chances to retcon that story, to be honest, where it didn't exist or anything, but they kept it and they kept teasing the fact that, I mean, we saw times where Gabriel and Sarah appeared in the comic books beforehand, and so it's not out of the possibility that they're clones or whatever. And even if Norman didn't sleep with her, they can still be the children of Norman and Gwen Stacy because the Jackal had clones of Peter, Gwen, Norman as well as Harry Osborn. So it's not impossible for these children to still be the children of Gwen Stacy, even if Gwen didn't sleep around. So you can retcon where Gwen and Norman didn't sleep together, but but what you can do is have it where they have Gwen's DNA, they have Norman Osborn's DNA, they have Harry, they have Jackal, they have Peter. And what could have happened is you could have a experiment where you're trying to get these twin children, of Gwen Stacy. Like, they're the children of Gwen Stacy, but we don't know who their fathers are or whatever because they were kind of genetically modified and stuff like that. So that can torture Peter Parker. You know what I'm saying? Because it is something that the Green Goblin would do. So it just doesn't make any sense that Harry would say that, oh, I did this to get back at my father. No, it's stupid. It doesn't make any logical sense. Harry is not that smart. Harry is a good character, but he's not that damn smart to put together this whole convoluted plan at all. I'm sorry, and I'm not buying all of a sudden now he wants to reveal that the Harry Osborn that has been there isn't really Harry Osborn. It's a clone, a genetic clone modified of Gabriel, and Kindred is Sarah, and the clone's been dying all the time. They've been trying to get them back together. Just no, it's over. You made it more convoluted than it needs to be, and trying to say that it never happened between Gwen and Norman Osborn just makes it even goddamn more complicated worse, because we already know that Mephisto has some things to do with it. So like I said, until Mephisto and Spider-Man confronts each other about this whole kind of situation, or until One More Day is retcon and rectified, it just doesn't make any sense, because people have to remember, Marvel wanted Gwen Stacy to have kids. They wanted Gwen to have kids, and their first attempt is with Peter Parker. That is the truth. But to try to overcomplicate this, because you made it more complicated than it needs to be, because with the whole cloning process, with the whole, oh, Harry's not real, with the whole, oh, Mephisto and Chameleon had hypnotized everybody, that was a revolved around that whole entire story. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So when Peter got the letter and he talked to the cops or whatever and stuff like that, so was the cops involved when Peter went to go talk to him or whatever and stuff like that? Or what about the people knowing who Peter Parker is? So are you saying that Chameleon and Mephisto, Mysterio, had knew who Peter Parker was in order for that plot to work or whatever? Come on now. Or then who did Peter Parker saved in, like when he saved Sarah or whatever and stuff like that? And then remember, Sarah joined Interpol as well. So where is that Sarah at? Especially when Peter had stabilized her DNA so she wouldn't, die really quickly. The same thing with how Gabriel was stabilized with the Goblin formula. And then on top of that, he had returned as American Son later on, and even Sarah had went to the family home that they were raised by, and Peter, had to figure out what was going on with that one too, with sins remembered. So it's one of those kind of things like, I get what you're doing, Marvel. I really get what you're doing. But I don't think you should retcon it out. I really don't. I really don't think you should retcon it out. Because, I mean, let's be honest, you kind of messed with Gwen Stacy a long time ago. Anyway, especially when you brought her back recently with the clone conspiracy, and I'm getting kind of tired of we're never putting any sort of blame on Gwen at all. And I'm not saying that she's a perfect character, but that's what it feels like Marvel's trying to make her as oh no, Gwen would never do that kind of stuff. Gwen would never do that kind of stuff. Even like when she was talking to the Clone Conspiracy, she talks to Peter talking about, I forgive you. Bitch, what? Forgive you? Like, all of that guilt that Peter has on him has to be resolved sometime. And I get kind of tired of when we're bringing Gwen Stacy into anything, it's never her fault. It's never her. It's always Peter or somebody else or something like that. No, it's time to put some blame on her. It is okay for her to sleep with Norman, made a mistake. And it happened. Because she did go away in Europe for a year in the Spider-Man thing. So why not let her have those twins? Or whatever and stuff like that. Because it puts on a layer that she wasn't as perfect as everybody thought. And that is okay. But y'all got to put some kind of blame on her. We can't keep having it all on Peter's fault. It can't all be Peter's fault. The same thing where you have Kendrick attacking Peter and talking about it's your fault that my life happened or whatever. I'm getting kind of sick of that nonsense right now. It cannot be Peter's fault for everything. Peter can't always hold the guilt. That is one of the most annoying tropes with the Spider-Man character is it's never anybody else's fault. Or it is their fault, but it somehow correlates to Peter's fault. You know what I'm saying? And then Peter has to hold that guilt all the time. No, Gwen was a grown ass girl. She was 19 years old or 20 something years old because she was a college student. So it's not like it was illegal for her to sleep with Norman Osborn or Warren Miles. If anything, I would have retconned the fact that she didn't sleep with Norman. I would have said that she slept with Warren. If you really want to be crazy about it, and those twins aren't really Norman Osborn's like he thought, it was really Warren's Miles because Gwen had slept with Warren beforehand or whatever, something like that. I know it's kind of crazy. I know it sounds really stupid, but no, we kind of do need to have something that you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand y'all. I mean, because it's Gwen Stacy. Don't get me wrong. I love the character. I think she served a purpose or whatever. But when you go back to that well for the character or whatever, it is okay for her to have flaws. She wasn't perfect at all. And trying to say that, oh, she would never, you don't know that. You don't know that girl was a beauty queen. She was the daughter of the captain of the police force. So yeah, a lot of men wanted her. So don't sit up there and try to pretend like she couldn't have used her looks for anything. She was also a fashion model as well as a scientist. So again, let's not pretend like she wouldn't have done certain things. It is okay for this character to have some flaws, to have something that you just be like, oh my God, Gwen would never. No, 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 no. Gwen would. Gwen would. And that's the thing that's kind of bothers me about the whole entire thing when it comes to this story, is that it's almost resolving Gwen from now being this perfect angel character again. No, what I would do is, instead of trying to convolute it, erase it, use the children. Use the children of Gwen Stacy. Maybe they can, be allies to Spider-Man and help him foil some of these villains. Like, whenever you need us, we're here, or something like that, or whatever. And maybe you can do a book I mean, heaven forbid, oh Jesus Christ, I know I'm gonna regret saying this. You can do another Spider Gwen title for God's sakes, or Ghost Spider, since she's in the main continuity, and you can have her work with the Stacy twins and them kind of resolving like sort of issues like, hey, this is your mom, but she's a teenager, she's a college person, and kind of making a makeshift family where they go on kind of their adventures. Maybe take them out of New York City and let them, take on mysterious, I don't know, mystic creatures or something like that. Something where they're not tied to Peter like that. But if they need to, they'll come back to New York when they need to. But maybe this will be kind of good to kind of have a makeshift, and then Gwen kind of has to like get used to the fact that she has potential children. I mean, they are her children, but not really her children. So that'll kind of make a like a cool makeshift family or whatever and stuff like that. Something that'll, you can still use the Ghost Spider character, you can still use the Stacy twins to do something better than what, instead of trying to retcon it or whatever and stuff like that. That'll be something cool. I think it would be cool. That's what I would have do with the characters, instead of trying to retcon it by saying that they're not. Because let's be honest, that whole, when they bring in kids in comic books and then all of a sudden try to retcon their parentage and say that they're not, it's the same thing with the whole Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver aren't the kids of Magneto. No, that's stupid. That's stupid. Just don't retcon it. Don't retcon it. It's dumb. It's the same thing with the Stacy children. No, don't retcon it. Don't even retcon it. Don't even retcon it. Yes, they're the children of Gwen Stacy and Norman Osborn. Bam, the end of the story. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's all they are. This would be the time to explore those characters more so than, oh, Gwen would never. No, because it was teased in the Gwen Stacy solo run. It was teased in the beginning that she was a stuck-up girl a little bit before they kind of changed her to the Gwen Stacy that we've known, and it's okay. But this plan that Kindred did, because reading the book, I just was like, this is more confusing than anything. And I get Nick Spencer's trying to like, clean up the thing or whatever. But let's be honest, somebody's probably going to do after the storyline. They're probably going to be like, yeah, so all of that stuff was fake or whatever. The children of Gwen Stacy really are the children of Gwen Stacy and Norman Osborn. And then people are going to get upset again. Because to be honest, it's not that much of a creepy story. The only reason why it makes it creepy is because Gwen Stacy at the time was the girlfriend of Spider-Man. But y'all have to remember, Gwen and Peter, Mary Jane, Flash, and Harry were grown people. They were like 20. They were like between 20 and 23 3-year-olds in college. They were in college, and Norman Osborn was like 40 something. It's not impossible for a young person to be with an older man, even if it is creepy. But it does kind of make sense because Norman could had manipulated her. It's understandable. It is understandable because we know how manipulative Norman can be. So is it out of the realm of possibility? No. But I don't think Marvel needs to try to retcon it now. The only thing that y'all can do that can make fans really happy is retconning One More Day, where Peter and Mary Jane finally get back together and finally reestablish their marriage. But this right here, this ain't nothing. This ain't much of nothing. Because on top of that, you ain't really did nothing with the characters. You put them, you had them in sporadic appearance here and there, but you ain't did much of nothing. But you keep bringing back Gwen for some damn reason. Her clones or her keep coming back, but you don't do much with the children. So why now all of a sudden you want to try to retcon it out of existence? It just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. I don't really believe that what Kendrick is saying is the truth. I don't believe it's the truth. I just think it's another thing to torture Peter and try to torture Norman Osborn or whatever, just to get even more guilt and sins, whatever, because we already seen that Doctor Strange and Mephisto are talking. So until Mephisto is the one that amidst all of this stuff or whatever, I don't believe anything that the Kindred is doing is by his own fault or by his own nature, because of the fact that Mysterio has been, Mephisto has been interfering with Peter's life for a long time. So until I see Mephisto's plan put together, or until I see Peter and confront Mephisto or whatever, I ain't really trying to hear about, oh, it's retconning, because it doesn't really look like it's retcon. It looks like they're trying to say it didn't happen, but at the same time, we know when people say that kind of stuff, 9 times out of 10 in comic books, it happened because somebody's going to reestablish it soon anyway. But I'm just saying, those are my thoughts. Don't hate me, guys. Again, I don't like Sins Past, but at the same time, I understand the story. You get what I'm saying? I'm just saying that this convoluted mess comic book is more convoluted than what Sins Past did, and that's saying something. But yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.